Now, let's proceed to the examples of solving group data of quartiles, deciles, and percentiles. So here is the example. Number 1, Art is a secretary in one big company in Bicol region. The following table shows the daily wage of 50 workers in his company. So find the quartile 1, quartile 2, and quartile 3. Letter B, find the decile 2 and the decile 7. Letter C, find the percentile 28 and percentile 97. So let's first find the quartile 1, quartile 2, and quartile 3. So here is the solution. So here are the solution for our example. So unahin natin yung quartiles. So find the first quartile. So we have to use the steps in calculating the quartiles, deciles, and percentile in solving the group data. So we have only to follow the steps. So the step 1, construct the cumulative frequency distribution. So to complete this table, we have to find the lower boundary and then the less than cumulative frequency. So a while ago, I already discussed the terms that we need for this to complete this table. So what is the lower boundary of 451 to 500? So we all need to do is subtract 0.5 to the lower class limit, which is on the first class, the lower class limit is 451. So 451 minus 0.5, the answer is 450.5. And then for the second class, the lower class limit is 501. So 501 minus 0.5 is equal to 500.5. For the third class, the lower limit is 551. So 551 minus 0.5, the answer is 550.5. Same with the fourth class. The lower class limit is 601. 601 minus 0.5. So the answer is 600.5. For the sixth class, for 651 minus 0.5, the answer is 650.5. For the seventh class, the answer is 700.5. And then the less than cumulative frequency, all we need to do is to add successively the frequencies of all the previous classes. It begins from the lowest to the highest size. So in this example, so the frequency of the first class is 4, right? So here we have only to copy the 4 and then add the successive frequency for the second class. The frequency for the second class is 14. So 4 plus 14 is equal to 18. So then 18 plus 6 is equal to 24. 24 plus 5 is equal to 29. 29 plus 9 is equal to 38. So 38 plus 12 is equal to 50. Next, we have to find the class interval. So what is the class interval? So a while ago, I already told you the class interval can be obtained using the several methods. One of those is getting the difference between the two successive lower limits or two successive upper limits. So in this example, we have to use the first class. I will use the first class and the second class. The lower limit for the first class is 451, right? And then the lower class limit for the second class is 501. So 501 minus 451, our class interval is 50. And the total frequency, so we only have to add this frequency, 12 plus 9 plus 5 plus 6 plus 14 plus 4. So n is equal to 50. For the step 2, we have to compute the position to determine the first quartile class. So here is the formula for the to get the first quartile, position of first quartile. So quartile 1 is equal to k times n over 4. So since we have to get the first quartile, k is equal to 1 and n is equal to 50. So it became 1 times 50 over 4. So it equals to 12.5. This means we need to find the class where the 12.5 score is contained. So note that the 12.5 position is between the cumulative frequency 5th and 18th. So since the 5 and 18 scores belong to the class 501 to 550, therefore, the 12.5 score is also within the 501 to 550 class. Therefore, the quartile 1 is class 501 to 550. Now, for the step 3, set the given facts for first quartile. So, we have to find the lower boundary of the first class, the total frequency, the cumulative frequency before the quartile 1 class, and then the frequency of the quartile 1 class, and then the size of the class interval. So we have to refer to the cumulative frequency distribution table. So thus, the lower boundary is equal to 500.5 and then the n, which is the total frequency, is equal to 50. And then the less than cumulative frequency before the first quartile is equal to 4. And then the frequency of the quartile or the first quartile is equal to 14. And then the I or the class interval is equal to 50. Now for the step 4, set the formula for the quartile 1, substitute and evaluate. So write the final answer, input the analysis. So here, we will be using the quartile formula for us to see the answer. So now, here is the formula for the quartile. Then, we have to substitute the given value in the step 3. So, substitute the value. So, we will having the final answer for the first quartile is equal to 530.8571 or 530.86. So, the analysis is, therefore, 25% of the workers are earning less than or equal to 530.86 pesos daily. Now, for the quartile 2. So, we have to find the quartile 2. So, step 1, construct the cumulative frequency distribution table. So, same with the answer in quartile 1. We already done with the cumulative frequency distribution table. So, here is the cumulative frequency distribution table. So, the lower boundary is 450.5, 500.5, 550.5, 600.5, 650.5, 700.5. And then the less than cumulative frequency is 4 plus 14 is 18, 18 plus 6 is 24, 24 plus 5 is 29, 29 plus 9 is 38, and 38 plus 12 is equal to 50. And then the interval, class interval is 50, and then the total number, or the total frequency is 50. For the step 2, compute the position to determine the second quartile class. So using the formula for the position of quartile 2, which is k times n over 4. So since we have to get the position of second quartile, therefore k is equal to 2 and n is equal to 50. So substitute to the formula, 2 times 50 over 4. So the quartile 2 is equal to 25. So this means we need to find the class interval where the 25th score is contained. So since the 25th to 29th scores belong to the class interval 601 to 650, so then the 25th score is also within the said class interval. Now for the step 3, so set the given facts for the quartile 2. So to get the value of the lower boundary of the second quartile and the total frequency, then the cumulative frequency before the quartile 2 and the frequency of the quartile 2. And then the I is the size of the class interval. So we have to refer to the cumulative frequency distribution table. So here we already know that the second class position, the position for the quartile 2 is on the 601 to 650. So this we will be using, this will be needed to find the lower boundary of the first class. So what is the lower boundary of 601 to 650? Is 600.5. Then the total frequency is equal to 50. Now, the cumulative frequency before the second quartile. So, before the second quartile, we already know that the less than cumulative frequency of the second quartile is 29. So, before it is, the answer is 24. And then, the frequency of the quartile 2, which is 5. The frequency for the quartile 2 is 5. And then, the class interval is 50. So, that was the needed for our step 4. So, for the step 4, set the formula for the quartile 2, substitutes, and evaluate. Then after that, write the final answer, input the analysis. Since we already get the lower boundary, the needed data, or the needed values for the formula. So we are now ready for the step 4. So here is the formula for the step 4. So here is the formula. Now we have to substitute to the given values to the formula. So the lower boundary is 600.5, and then since k is for the second quartile 2, then total frequency is 50 over 4 minus the cumulative frequency before this second quartile position, which is 24, minus the frequency of the second quartile position, which is 5, times the class interval is equal to 50. So the final answer for the quartile 2 is equal to 610.5. So therefore, 50% of the workers are earning less than or equal to 600.5 pesos daily. Find the quartile 3. So same with the steps, we will be using the steps in finding the group data for the quartiles, deciles, and percentiles. So step 1, construct the cumulative frequency distribution table. Since we already constructed the cumulative frequency distribution table, same with, we will be using this table. For the step 2, compute the position to determine the third quartile class. So we will be using again the formula for finding the position of quartile, which is equal to k times n over 4. So since we have to find the third quartile position, so it means that k is equal to 3 and n is equal to 50. Therefore, the position of quartile 3 is on the 37.5. So this means we need to find the class where the 37.5 score is contained. So since the 30 to 38 scores belong to the class 651 to 700, then the 37.5 score is also within the said class. So for the step 3, set the given facts for quartile 3. So we have to find the lower boundary for the third class of the third class. So what is the lower boundary of the third class? So we refer to the cumulative frequency distribution table. So now we all know that the third class position is on the 651 to 700. Therefore, the lower boundary is equal to 650.5. Then the total frequency is the same, it's equal to 50. And the less cumulative frequency before the quartile 3 is equal to 29. And the size of the class interval is equal to 50. So we need that data for us to compute the quartile or third quartile. So for the step 4, set the formula for the quartile 3. So substitutes and evaluate. So write the final answer, input the analysis. So using the quartile formula for group data, so here is our formula for the quartile group data. So substitute the value from the given value from the step 3, which is our lower boundary is equal to 650.5. So substitute to LB plus the k is equal to 3 and n is equal to 50. Divide it by 4 minus the less than cumulative frequency before the quartile 3. So it is equal to 29 divided by the frequency of quartile 3 is equal to 9. Then the interval or class interval is equal to 50. So therefore, our quartile 3 is equal to 697.72. As a result, or we have to interpret this data, therefore, the 75% of the workers, since quartile 3 is 75% of the data, right? So 75% of the workers are earning less than or equal to 697.72 pesos daily. Okay, so before we proceed to finding the D2 and the D7, please pause this video and try to answer the decile 2 and the decile 7. So just do not forget, or please take note that the formula for the computation for decile and quartile are almost similar. They only differ in the divisor. So the divisor of quartile is 4, while the decile is equal to 10. So nagkakaiba lang sila in finding the position. So determining the position, the formula for the position for quartile is equal to k times n divided by 4, while in decile, the formula is equal to k times n divided by 10. So do not forget, or please take note that in answering the decile. Okay?